This K&N air intake system is designed to increase vehicle power and acceleration by reducing restriction in the intake path. The 57-3013-2 air intake has received a CARB EO number, and it is street legal in all 50 states. This air intake system fits several Chevrolet Suburban 1500, Tahoe, Sonora, K3500, K2500, and C35 models. It also fits several GMC Yukon, Yukon Denali, K3500, K2500, C1500, C2500, and C3500 models. For detailed vehicle listings, see the K&N website or catalog. K&N power testing showed an estimated power gain of 9 horsepower at 4,916 RPM with this air intake installed on a 1996 Chevy 1500 with a 5.0-liter engine. Actual results will vary depending on the condition of the vehicle, mileage, weather, and other variables. With the air intake installed, we ran the vehicle on the dyno to test the sound comparison versus the stock intake. The intake kit includes components that have been designed or matched to the needs of these vehicles to produce a safe horsepower increase. Detailed installation instructions are included with this kit. The tools needed for this install are shown. Turn the ignition off and disconnect the vehicle's negative battery cable. Loosen and remove the tall wing nut on the throttle body. Release the over-center clamps and remove the airbox lid. Disconnect the crankcase vent hose from the factory air intake tube. Disconnect the air temperature sensor electrical connection. Disconnect the mass air sensor electrical connection. Lift and remove the complete air intake system. Remove the lower airbox assembly. Using a 13mm socket, remove lower airbox bracket from inner fender. Using a 7/32 socket, loosen and remove the factory stud from the throttle body. Using a 5/16 wrench, remove the factory bolt from the standoff and reinstall the factory bolt in its original location. Using a flat blade screwdriver, loosen and remove the mass air sensor. Remove the air temperature sensor from the factory intake tube. Hand tighten the 3 provided coupling nuts to the original throttle body studs. Install the neoprene gasket provided onto the throttle body flange. Install the aluminum throttle body adapter and hand start the 3 6mm Allen bolts. Using a 7/16 wrench, snug the 3 coupling nuts and tighten the 3 6mm bolts using a 5mm Allen wrench. Using a 1/8 Allen wrench and a 3/8 socket, assemble the heat shield using the provided hardware. Install the provided grommet into the small hole on the heat shield. Using the provided hardware, install the rubber-mounted studs onto the bottom side of the heat shield. Install the filter adapter onto the mass air sensor with the directional arrow as shown. Install the mass air sensor into the hole on the heat shield. Install the heat shield assembly into the 2 holes on the inner fender and secure from underneath. Also apply the pour-on gasket onto the heat shield to cover the exposed bolts. Reinstall the factory air temperature sensor into the provided hole on the filter charger air filter element. Install the factory air temperature sensor lead through the grommet hole on the heat shield. Place the filter charger element into the heat shield and reconnect the air temperature sensor electrical connection. Then slide the element onto the adapter and tighten with the provided hose clamp. Install the mass air adapter onto the mass air sensor and tighten the mass air sensor side only. Install the silicone hose over the throttle body adapter. Then tighten using a provided MIDI hose clamp. Fully install the K&N intake tube onto the throttle body adapter and tighten the second MIDI hose clamp. Reconnect the crankcase vent hose onto the intake tube. Install trim seal onto the heat shield. Some cutting and trimming may be necessary to achieve best fit. Reconnect the mass air sensor electrical connection. Reconnect the vehicle's negative battery cable. Double check to make sure everything is tight and properly positioned before starting the vehicle. The included CARB exemption sticker must be visible under the hood so emissions inspectors can see it when the vehicle is required to be tested for emissions. It will be necessary for all K&N high-flow air intake systems to be checked periodically for realignment, clearance, and tightening of all connections. Failure to follow the instructions or proper maintenance may void warranty. K&N makes products for nearly every vehicle on the road. The K&N website allows you to search products by vehicle or dimension, download installation instructions, view dyno charts showing typical horsepower gains for this product, and view product details. For information on where to buy K&N products, go to knfilters.com.